What's going on? Welcome on in. Friday, September 22nd, 2023 trade recap down 148. On the day, I just recorded this entire video and then realized my audio was turned off. So here we go again. So we had a close to a max loss day, and then we essentially implemented the strategy that we created at the beginning of this month to minimize our max losses. So originally we had a max loss of $300 was a max loss day. Now a max loss day is $250, so it's a small adjustment. But how we get there is two losses in a row. So two $100 losses in a row, which is essentially what I'm looking to risk on a trade. If we lose two $100 trades in a row, our next trade, we can only risk 50. So that's what we did on this. And we ended up risking 50 and we made 50. So it ends up with our P&L down 150 versus down 200 or down 250 if that was to be a loser. So we'll see how this goes. I think it's a better way than what I have been doing prior, but this is still telling that it's not really a great day to be trading. To be honest, would have loved to now, looking back, to have taken this week off, gone on a nice little vacation, but we obviously did not do that. Here we are. So meta. Focus on meta, one stock. Everyone knows the rules. I don't even know what I'm saying. But okay, let's jump in. So Meta's chart, right? Meta's a beast today. It was up 3% at one point. I got faked out 2 times. I'm surprised it happened twice. Reason why is because usually it happens once. If it comes back the second time, we don't usually get faked out, but it did. Maybe the overall context is better to go, which we'll come to that in a second. But high of day right here, nice, staying tight, staying high on this second candle. I got in on the break right here. Obviously that broke down, fell off. Now, one thing I also want to mention is that the contracts I traded on, my platform was wonky. I don't know if I had to reset my Webull platform because I trade on Webull's desktop for options. Wonky. So I don't know what was going on there, but the order book was all messed up. The price ladder was all messed up. Not that that's an excuse, but I got stopped out the spread ended up opening up, and I may have had a stop loss, I think at 250 or 260 on the contract, and then it stopped me out, and I got filled at 240. And I was like, whoa, that's a way off. So I was really trying to risk a little bit less than what I did, but it ended up okay, lost. Then it came back. Then I saw this candle come right back up right here. I'm like, hey, it's above VWAP, held it nicely. I got in again as we tested the highs. Now we just broke it by a couple cents, but I essentially got in again here. That also lost. Then I'm saying, okay, we're holding these lower wicks. This is not to strategy, not to system. So indicated here by the N on Trade Zella, the N on this last one, not to system. This is when I got in. I saw these lower wicks. I get in at 9:18 a.m. Stop loss right under VWAP. Why? Because it was easier to risk a $50 trade from that. And I was like, hey, nothing else looks good. I'm not going long any of the other stocks that are way weaker than this. I'm going to go long the strongest name, and that's it. And it kind of worked, right? We kind of had this nice, dips and then broke the highs. We eventually broke it. So the idea, we're kind of we had the right general idea. We broke a high of the day, but that move was not met with momentum. What is this? So then I ended up getting stopped out. Now, because I had entered in on a dip buy, which again, not to my strategy and system, again, because I was in from down here, I stopped out on this candle somewhere in here, and I still was able to make $50 out of it. So that was how that worked. But overall, you look at some of these charts, and the reason why it's pretty frustrating in my opinion is because you're like, what is this? Right? In the grand scheme, dude, what are you doing? We're not near any relative highs or lows, really, we're kind of just in the middle of this shit. And it's I shouldn't have even bothered with that, to be honest with you. So that kind of framework, sure. The second piece to this whole thing that's frustrating to me, if we get out of this now, is, let me go pull myself off the screen. You have 7 green A's in a row. Now, these green A's, they were not great because some of them were partial take profit days. Some of these were one loser, one winner. So we sneak out in the green. So they were not big winners. There's like one decent day. This 146 on the 15th was a decent green day. That was a decent trade. Everything else, eh. And then we have 4 in a row that are red. We didn't trade FOMC day Wednesday. Not terrible, but like it's frustrating because it's not like I'm sitting here saying like, oh, I'm only long biased, and I only trade the upside. I'm not, that's not at all. I actually traded more on the downside this month because we've been trending down, right? And charts looked better to the downside for momentum. But it hasn't been. It's been like breakdown, slight move down, snap back up, and then make a lower high, come back, go a little bit lower, then bounce back up. Like that's been the nature of these moves. And it's just been kind of frustrating because you are there, your like idea is there, the general idea is there, but like the execution based on my strategy just doesn't work. And that's you got to understand, like in my view, that's fine. Some people are going to say, no, I got to jump strategies. I don't believe that that's a good idea. But personally, the way I view it is you take full inventory. So like this month will be this month, right? Maybe next week we have a couple green days and we can go green. Great, cool, be awesome. Maybe not. Maybe we finish the month red. I don't know. This is what the total month P&L is right now. So it's like barely red. You have a couple red months a year. It's going to happen. Not surprised. It's, wish you can avoid it all, but you can't in an actual strategy, I believe. Unless you are strategy jumping and then you're really good at knowing when to strategy jump so that you can take better advantage of those conditions, which is tough. I prefer that's not to do that because then that makes it much more mentally challenging. But, let's say you have 8 green months. I don't really see why with the strategy, the sizing and way I'm operating right now, like when things are working nice, don't see why you can't do 1,000 plus based on the sizing. So you have a couple 1,000 plus months, you've got a couple reds, you net in the green, you're happy. Of course, that could be scaled up over time. So you scale it up over time as you get more confident, as you get more comfortable, as you've shown, when you've shown you're much more consistent and you've shown you really know how to operate this thing kind of inside it out. So that's what that's all about. So I still think it's fine, but the environment and conditions have been a lot less clean, if you will. That's the right word to say. Over the past 2 months specifically, I have noticed for what I like to do, for my style, for what I look for. But at the end of the day, still a lot of good has come out of this. A lot of lessons, a lot of learning. So I'm not really pissed about it. But that's the update for today. That's today's trade recap. We'll be back at it again next week. A couple of other things. I may be transitioning out of options and to shares again. Just the wonkiness with some of the options, the wonkiness with my stop losses and stuff. Sometimes getting hit before I want them to get hit and whatnot because of the nature of options and how they trade, decay factors and whatnot. I opened a demo account with a prop firm broker that'll allow me to just trade shares. And we very well may be doing that soon-ish. So probably like 2 months from now, we may be making that transition. Not like it's a big change, but as I've talked about in the past, I believe that will probably on average increase my win rate by a few percent and increase my average win-loss by I think a decent amount. So I think we can probably get our average loss, down lower. And our average, look at the ratio. So 1.25 is what I have for this month. I think that number could probably get closer to 1.5. Obviously, it will change depending upon how the market is, right, in that given period of time. But I think we can get that number up. So that will then give me more breathing room for the strategy to how to operate and whatnot if we can do that. So it's just little tweaks I think we're going to be making. That's probably a better way to go about it. We shall see. With that said, thanks so much for watching. I'll leave links to TradeZella, how we tracked all the stuff in the video description box down below. Back at it next week. Stay tuned for some of those trade recaps, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.